What up, what up, what up, world? It's your boy J Star back again with the top 5 for week 6. Players, man. Let's get right into this as we always do. We start off with the tight end position, man. Who just missed the cut for this one is going to be who we got here. We got Logan Thomas, man. Um, he's been, looking good lately, for sure. But also, we had targets of threes. And now we just finally coming off of, one of the hottest games. He looked more like Logan Thomas, what we used to try to pick all the time, for the first time in a really good spot against Atlanta. So, possibly if the targets can remain back at this 8, at least area to 6, we can definitely hit for possibly another 15 to 19 points. But it's just the fact that we know he can also have 3 targets and not come through, of course, at all for us. So that's why he just missed a cut there. At number 5, though, this week, we got 4,500 Ingram. Just a consistent tight end being used in a good spot here against the Colts. I just feel like he's always in for consistent, double digit points, which is what we want to get from our tight ends, man. So has to make it on the top 5 at number 5 this week. At number 4, though, we got, where are we at? Zach Ertz, man, another consistent tight end, and still super cheap. Finally scored. The targets did drop a lot, though. Hopefully we get the targets back up in this game because it should be a lot of passing, and we just saw what Goddard was able to do. So if we can get back to the 10 to 8 targets in this game, we definitely can see a good game from Ertz. So he has to make it on the top 5 at number 4. At number 3, we have Laporta coming off of his biggest game. So far it looks like, oh well, not really. He had a big game there in week 3 against Atlanta, of course, but coming off a huge game with St. Brown being out with the double touchdowns, though. I think we can also get another big game again. He's been doing really good against zone style defenses. So if also St. Brown is out, he is going to be, heavily used, I feel like, again, and look for those touchdowns once again. Then we moving on to number 2 this week. We have, where are you at? Komet, playing really good, just back-to-back games, consistent, with the targets, yards, touchdowns, back-to-back games. Definitely feel like in a game like this, Minnesota, they're still a high-scoring, high-powered offense, even without Jefferson. They still could get it done. So I can definitely see the Bears looking to try to score a lot of points, and they've been putting up really good points lately, almost near 30 points a game averaging for the last 2 games. So, and Komet has been a big part of that. So he has to make it on this list at number 2. At number 1 is going to be the highest tight end on the slate here. We got Hawkinson, man. Just, his target's probably going to be easily double digits now. With no Jefferson, I don't see how they don't just dumping it off to him, trying to scheme up something deep down the field for him. He knows the offense very well, and I know they're going to scheme up a lot of different things to throw at him for him to have a big game. Looking at possibly hitting a 25-point game for him, so he has to be here at number 1. We move on to running back, though. At running backs this week, who just missed the cut, just because of the fact I kind of feel like he might not be used as much with Cup coming back, but Kyron Williams will be, that back. I feel like we could start seeing a 15 area. I definitely believe his targets are coming down because Cup is back involved. But this is still a good game. If possibly they're up big, I can see them leaning on Kyron Williams late at least. But he just missed a cut there. And next at number 5, though, this week, we got, where is he at? He super cheap down here almost, but we got Madison, man. Good spot for him to be able to run on the Bears defense. Hopefully the pass catching picks up for him because that's where the Bears have been vulnerable at. So maybe we can get a 6 to 7 catches for him, or targets at least, that possibly gets him over that 20 points for 5,600. Should be a really good spot for him there. Then at number 4, we go up a little bit here. We got Kamara against Houston. He's just been heavily used lately since he's been back. And it looks like, his snap count is going up. And, just a really good spot for them, playing a rookie quarterback, could get the ball back a few more extra times here with their tough defense and, have good field position. So I definitely could see Kamara having another really good game for him, getting possibly over that 20s. We got a goal line touchdown stolen from him just last week. So he could have possibly had 2. Maybe in this game, they both go to him and, he gets over that high 20 marks and probably pushes him over 7,000 after this week. So Then moving on from that, we're going to Bijan Robinson. Back to the well again with him. He's been almost hitting 20s every week besides two. And I just think, this is a really good week for him to bounce back very strong. Possibly could be up huge against Washington. If Washington looks any type of way like they looked on Thursday night against Atlanta, then they could be up big, man, in this game. So, and Bijan could possibly have his biggest game, looking at possible 30-point game for Bijan Robinson here. Then we have at number 2, we're looking at ETN, man, coming off a huge game for him, man. But just the workload is going up, man. 19, 20, 26, 5 targets, 3 targets, 5 targets. I mean, and still in the 71 range. That's really great. Still cheap, So, and at home, in a win situation, probably, pick to win, this game. So that's all good for him, man. Everything just sounds really good for ETN to end up having a really good game here. The matchup is really good for him. Everything. So definitely could see another huge game for him here. Maybe not 39, but maybe we get a 28 or something like that. So he has to make the list on there for that. And then last, because of, A-Chan is out, we got to go with Mostert, man. The run game has just looked spectacular over here for Miami. I don't really see it going anywhere, different, with the fact that, they still have both of their receivers to get down that field, in one play. And if they get caught short or something like that, then, we got Mostert back there. And now at least it makes it a little bit easier to just pick one back. Since one is going to be out. If they do get Jeff Wilson, I can see them definitely using a little bit of Jeff Wilson, but they might ease him back in, coming back from injury and everything like that. I definitely see Raheem Mostert, being that speedster, and they really want to use all the speed they got out there. So I definitely see him, being able to go off, probably gets to like an 18 attempt game or something like that. And we already seen what he's able to do, even with less too as well. But definitely, this team is just crazy with the run game. So you gotta definitely pick somebody like, Mostert when it's a solo act 2 back there in the backfield more than likely. At quarterback this week, I am looking at, let's see what we got. So just missed the cut here. We got, where is he at? Dobbs, man. Playing really good, man. I knew he was gonna have a hard time against Cincinnati's defense. Just a tough defense through his first 2 picks, of the whole season. So I think he bounces back in a really good matchup here against the Rams. I think we get back to these nice 20 points. So definitely, like I said, but it is, he is coming off one of his worst games, right there of the season here. But if he can use the right weapons, he can definitely, end up hitting, but just missed the cut because we have some other good options here. Then we got to go with, let's see, where are we going to? Cousins up here, man. He's going to continue to throw the ball a lot. As you see, the 47, I told y'all what we're looking for this season. The 44, the 40, over 40 attempts, man. Those are usually guarantees going to get us 20 points. So definitely got to pick him, going against the Chicago defense, who even without Jefferson, we're talking about this might be the best game for Kirk Cousins because he's used to getting pressured and Chicago delivers no pressure. So now he gets to have a game where he gets to sit back and just watch his receivers or tight ends get open. And yeah, I just definitely just see Cousins probably having his best game even without Jefferson, and maybe people being a little shocked on that, but it will be because of the pressure situation of, just being able to sit back there and just look down the field for your weapons to get open on big plays. At number 4, we got Justin Fields on the other side of that game, coming off his 2 hottest games. And like I was saying before in my other video, is that his schedule is getting really easy at the moment. We had Green Bay, pretty tough defense, especially at least against the pass, I would say. Tampa Bay, tough defense there. And then Kansas City has been playing really good. Then you get Denver and Washington and you go off. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Minnesota. So another just game where he can go off. So definitely got to put him in the top 5 at number 4 there. At number 3, though, we go down a little bit. We got Stafford, man. Having cut back and playing the full snaps right away helped a lot. I did say, too, instantly he was going to throw 2 touchdowns for the first time when Kupp came back. And look what happened. I know he didn't hit, but Philly's defense is tough. So, and now you get an easier matchup against Arizona's defense, who, quarterbacks and everybody's been able to have a really good game. We already saw what Chase was able to do, 3 touchdowns. Burrow, they looked their best against Arizona. I don't see why Stafford can't do the same when he has 2 weapons and not even just one that can, kill a zone style defense. So this should be his biggest game. I'm looking at, since I called the 2 touchdowns, I'm looking at a 3 touchdown game for Stafford here. So had to make the top 5 at number 3 because of that. Then we go up to Tua. I know he's losing the run game, but he does still have his receivers, and it's probably going to be a bigger game for him for passing. Possibly, we're looking at a 3 touchdown game for him. So I definitely could see them looking at the pass a little bit more in this game, not having, one of those running backs, because I don't think they will want to just completely lean on Mostert to make him, possibly get hurt or something like that, So did they have 2 really good receivers that they can lean on, get up big, and then lean on Mostert for that second half of that game and put it away? So definitely can see Tua hitting off with like 3 touchdowns in this game. At 7,600 sounds really good to me. So I had to put him in there at number 2. At number 1, though, let me move on. My bad. Number 1 here, we got Trevor Lawrence. I'm just thinking, he had his best game against this team, man. And coming off a really good game here against Buffalo, even though he still hasn't hit for, multiple touchdowns, I'm thinking this could be the game, and the Colts have a weak backfield, very, very weak backfield. And he just has the weapons, I think, for this game to get it going and get a multiple touchdown game, possibly 200 and 300 yards, and gets us to about 26, 28 points, something around there, I think, but I definitely think Trevor is able to go off in this game. He might even actually get 3 touchdowns, man, because once it gets rolling, you just probably just want to keep going to it, and I think this is that game that gets it going at home and everything. So big game, I think, for Trevor Lawrence. That's why he makes it on this list at number 1. And then we head over to receivers, man. So at receivers this week, we got just missing the cut here is going to be Puka. Gotta, talk about Puka just because, he's got to be at least almost on the list or on the list every time he plays a zone style defense. He's just been annihilating every zone style defense. Even Philly was able to still get to 20 points. What Cup coming back? So, and he just barely, to me, like missed a 100-yard game against a good defense. So now you get a weaker defense. Gets the same amount of targets. We can see the same production with 100 yards bonus with that. So we're looking at another 5 to 7 points almost there. And we don't know how many touchdowns he might get because now he's back to back getting touchdowns. So that's really good to see. So like I said, but just missed the cut, man, there. And then we got at number 5 this week, the receiver that everybody supposedly missed somehow, but more, we get another chance, man. Back-to-back games, scoring, back-to-back games over 100 yards. And then just another easy matchup, man. Just another easy matchup for him to have another 100-yard game, possibly another touchdown. And, finally, everybody's able to pick him, on this night. Because I think both of these games, I can't remember for sure if both of those games were, what I want to say, showdowns or not. But yeah, I do definitely think, I don't think this was a showdown. This was actually on the slate here. So yeah, I just think people kind of slept on taking more there too as well. So this is probably the time, everybody gets to pick him, and he does hit still too cheap. I feel like, being under 7,000, especially after coming off of a 30 and a 50 something point game. So then we move on though to number 4, and we got to go with a guy that's been very consistent, but nobody's, really been on him that much, I feel like, but it's Thielen, man. Just consistent targets, consistent yards, especially also against, what is this? I think a zone defense Miami is playing. Been doing well against those type of defenses. And I think he's still too cheap. Like we called it at the beginning of the season, it just didn't hit, but a number 1 receiver on a team at 4,600, which is too cheap. If we look at all the number 1 receivers on every team, they're in the 6,000s at least, or plus 7,000 easily. So we're looking at a number 1 receiver here in a good spot, gonna probably be down, needing to throw a lot, trying to get touchdowns through the pass. Did the same thing here, down big, throwing a lot, hit again there. So for him not to go to $6,000 is a crime, but I love it for us, that we can still pick him. So for cheap there. And then moving on from Thielen, we got where are we at? move up a little bit here. We got Calvin Ridley. Already showed us what he was able to do the first time. I can see bounce back again. He did hit against Buffalo too. Being that they was hurt defensively, without Tre'Davious White, he was able to carve up that defense. So now going against even an easier matchup, who we already saw him hit for, possibly gets 2 touchdowns in this game, and over 100 yards. Especially, I think his targets will probably be high, especially if Zay Jones is out. So gotta put Ridley in there at number 3. At number 2 this week though, we move up here. We got Chase coming off of his biggest game. I think Higgins possibly could be out again. Who knows for sure though? We'll know at the end of this week. But if he is out, then yeah, Chase is going to have mad targets again, moving in and out the slot, just scheming up a lot of different plays for him to get open. And they've seen that every time they have done this is when they won. So I don't see them really stopping from scheming up and making sure you get Chase the ball as much as possible, because they've been losing too many games. And so definitely Chase is going to be a huge, part of this offense going forward, period. So we're looking at, for being 8,300 and not being at that 9,000 range where the Tyreek Hills and stuff, it might be still a steal and too cheap for Chase at the moment. So has to make this list at number 2. And then at number 1 is going to be Tyreek Hill. I don't know if it's only but 1 or 2 weeks that he hasn't hit. We do got to remember he's trying to go for 2,000 yards. So being that, I knew he was going to go off in this game because of that, because I was looking at the 58 and I'm like, in the 40, that's not going to get you there. You needed a huge game to get you trying to get to 2,000 yards this season. And I definitely expect it to happen again this game too as well, having a huge game, because of the fact they are missing one running back at least, so they probably will heavily use these receivers. I'm looking at another huge game from Tyreek Hill, man. And it's good to see now he's actually getting touchdowns, because last season we went 7 weeks almost, I think, without him getting a touchdown. So yeah, this is really good to see. But that's why he makes it at number 1, going for 2,000 yards, y'all. You got to take him there. But it's your boy J Star. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope this really helps y'all out. And I'm out, y'all. Peace.